Corporal Web hit at your service.
You're racked, yeah. Where's your bike?
Closest to the exit, mate.
What's happened to your bike, Harry?
Wind took
Yeah, the wind pushed it over. We're not in the best mood.
Wearing number 2, the Challenge Wales champion from Great Britain, Harry
Let's go, Harry! That's 36 seconds to the front. Let's go! Let's go, Harry. That's 30 seconds to the front. Come on, Harry. 30 seconds. Come on, Harry. Let's go. Let's go. You got it, Harry. You got it. Go, go.
Way to go, Harry! What a battle! What a battle! Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. That's the big hug from Jack Hutchins. What a run by Pablo. Wow.
I nearly shit my pants.
Excellent racing.
So there we are, second place at a challenge race that I don't actually know how to pronounce, so we've been calling it Challenge Croissant. And I just thought I'd run through a bit of a race debrief and talk to you guys about how sort of the race tactics came about and how I managed to get that second place, which I'm very, very happy about. It's another podium, which is great, and gives me a lot of confidence going forward to the next race in the season, which is a big one, and I'll be talking about that as well. So yeah, starting off, we drove down, which was really, really nice. A week before the race, we had plenty of time to prepare, and in the preparation, I got an insight into what the course was like, and I had an idea of how quick the course was going to be. The weather looked like it was going to be a lot better compared to last year, where it was completely, biblical from what I've heard. I wasn't there, but I heard it was, pretty much carnage. And I was just looking forward to a quick race. I knew there were some really good guys on the start line, and so I wanted to just basically come back out of my, the illness that I had, COVID, a month or so ago, and just have a really good, confidence-inducing race. Went into it not in complete peak shape, sort of saving that for later in the season, but definitely had some good numbers and some confidence-inducing numbers going into it, so I was confident that I could still put together a good performance, even though it may not be my best performance. And yeah, so leading up to the race, everything went smooth. Training was going well, the stomach was feeling good, eating was going well. There was no indication of having any kind of problems or anything, so was feeling great. Race morning was quite nice, actually. It was a 10 a.m. start, so it was a little bit more relaxed than the regular sort of 7 a.m. of Ironman. So yeah, that was really nice. It was absolutely freezing race morning, and this is where kind of, I guess, the first problem or first mistake starts, essentially. So rack everything, that's all smooth, apart from the fact that I leant my bike up against some railings that had a banner against them, turned around to grab a bottle and stuff to put on the bike, and the wind blew the banner, which then blew my bike over and it came crashing down on the tarmac. So I wasn't best pleased. I was a little bit annoyed because I've scraped the side of the handlebars and it's a little bit annoying to drop your bike, but anyway, that was absolutely fine. So racked everything, got my bearings, went to swim start, got there quite early, and I normally don't do a jog warm-up, which is actually a mistake on this race. I should have done a jog warm-up. Normally I leave it, and this race I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do anything that I don't normally do. But I was absolutely freezing. I had jackets on, I had jumpers on, everything, and it was so cold. Even like getting into my wetsuit, swinging my arms about, trying to get warm, it was absolutely freezing. So anyway, we go down to the swim start, and we're allowed as pros to have a swim warm-up. So I think you can get 10 minutes of a swim warm-up in, and then you need to be out of the water 10 minutes before the start. And I decided not to do a swim warm-up. This was the second mistake of mine, is because I thought getting a swim warm-up would be detrimental, because then I'd have to get out and stand on the beach for 10 minutes and be absolutely freezing, and even colder than I would be if I just stood on the beach. So I stood on the beach, I did loads of kind of like arm swinging exercises, did some press ups, tried to get as warm as I possibly could without going in the water. The issue there is that I didn't have a very good swim, and the reason why I didn't have a good swim is because I think I just wasn't warm, I wasn't ready for it. I was at my limit straight out of the gates, and just felt like I couldn't chase people, and I couldn't stay with people, and it was really frustrating. So we started on the beach, and it was quite funny actually, because they said 60 seconds to go, and I was still chatting to Will Draper at this point, talking about, you know, the first buoy that we've got to go around, and the kind of the angle that we're going to take. And sort of 10 seconds later, the whistle goes, and it's like, oh shit, like I'm not even, you know, in position to run into the water. So you'll see me, like on the race start video, be a little bit hesitant there. Some people actually on the far left decided to run down the beach and then go in, which I thought, I didn't even know that was allowed, I'll be totally honest. So maybe for next year's I would suggest a challenge to actually make, like, maybe put another buoy in earlier on, because it was then, I wouldn't say it was unfair, but I would say it wasn't clear that you could do that, and then that gave people, I think, an unfair advantage running down the beach and getting in the water a little bit further down. So anyway, I start the swim, and I get to the first buoy, and it feels like an absolute boxing match. I've got people's feet in my face, I've got people dragging me down, I've got people punching me, and it is horrible, and I don't feel good in the water at all. I don't feel warmed up, I don't feel ready for it. And so that was a big mistake of mine. And I tried my best to hang on to Freddie Webb's feet, but he just kept on going, and I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. My breathing was absolutely fine, but my shoulders were absolutely screaming at me. But I felt like I was swimming, through treacle. It was horrible. So we come out of the Aussie exit, and it's probably the slowest Aussie exit anyone's ever seen, but I was absolutely gassed. I just felt horrific, kind of like flopped back into the water, and I mentally just said to myself, okay, well, the swim is what it is, and we'll get out and we'll try and push a bit harder on the bike and see what happens. And you'll see from maybe some of the photos that I post on Instagram of me exiting the swim, I was pissed. I was not happy at all. That maybe helped me in some sense with the bike, because I was able to dig even deeper than potentially I probably could. So I get out of the swim 36 seconds down. It's not the end of the world, but it's frustrating. I get through transition, I get out onto the bike 30 seconds down, so I've closed 6 seconds already, and immediately on the bike I'm not even thinking, oh, I've got 90k to go. I'm not thinking I've got half marathon after this. I'm not thinking about anything. All I'm thinking of is getting to the front of the race and chasing down that group, and that's exactly what I do. And I get into the position, and I just say to myself, I don't want to see anything below 360, 365 watts. Like, everything needs to be above that. I need to be punching hard. I need to be sitting in aero, and I need to be going as quick as I possibly can. So I roll past a few athletes that have been spat from that group, and I make contact with the back of that group about 10 minutes in. At that point, I was maybe at 365 watts normalized. And then we turned off the main road, we cut left, and it was maybe another 5k of technical single track road before we get onto the main road, and that's when it really opens up. And so I knew that was going to be a really key point, because if you're on the front, you can just really roll through this road really quickly, and it will essentially be like a yo-yo effect with people on the back, and it will be quite easy to get spat there or spit people out. And I was on the back of this group, having done a bit of effort, and as soon as I made contact, my power went from like 365 down to like 240 or something, and I was like, ooh, this is not the position I want to be in. I do not want to get spat here, and actually I want to be the person who's making the moves, and I feel like I'm strong enough to do that. I also knew from the race briefing that there were going to be motorbikes at this event. You know, there's going to be a lead bike, there's going to be media, stuff like that. That does affect the race. If you're someone who can sit behind the bike or be in the group that is behind the bike, you will get an advantage. Even if the motorbike's maybe 40 or 50 meters up the road, there is an advantage to be had. It's not the athlete's fault that there's a motorbike there. That's just the way that the race is, and it's the motorbikes and the officials' job to actually stay out of the way of the race. But I knew that would dictate part of the race. So I thought, okay, I'm at the back of this group, I just need to go straight away and I need to get to the front. So I maybe had 20 seconds like respite, and I decided to just overtake everyone I possibly could. So there was maybe 8 people in that group, and I knew that it was a 20-meter draft rule, so I can't exactly slot in, and I knew I had 25 seconds to pass each person. So I essentially just swung out and I just passed every single person I possibly could within 25 seconds, and I was almost counting in my head 25 seconds, and I was riding really hard, maybe like 380, sometimes up to 400 watts just to make the pass. And then there was a bit of a gap behind Freddie Webb, so slotted in on the bike, and then decided to go again, maybe had a few seconds respite, went again, decided to get all the way pretty much to the front. I was second man back, and the guy who was on the front then saw me kind of get behind him and decided to put in a really big dig, and I was like, right, this is it, this can really split up the race, so I need to hold on here. I'm 20 minutes in, I'm at kind of 365 watts normalized, I've worked really hard to get myself into position, I'm second man on the road, we can really work well here. And this guy put in a big dig, we rode really hard, and maybe 25 minutes, half an hour in, I look behind and I notice we're through this town at the minute, at this point, and I notice that we've got a little bit of a gap, and I immediately roll past him. I say, mate, we've got a gap, let's go. So I get on the front, I know that there's motorbike up ahead, and I just sit at 340 watts for as long as I possibly can, essentially, in good position. I'm at the front of the race, I'm riding hard. I was like, me and this guy, we can get away, and even if this guy drops off, I know I can get away because I've got a motorbike in front of me. And like, you know, the motorbike wasn't directly in front of me, but there definitely was a benefit there. Like, I'm not going to be someone who is like, oh, I was at the front of the race and the reason why I got away is because I'm like the best rider in the field. I knew I'm one of the better riders in the field, and I know I actually would be competitive against every single person in this race, but there was also a benefit to be had with the motorbikes. Like, I don't know what the difference is, but if a motorbike is, I don't know, 40 meters up the road, I can imagine it's, you know, a 15 watt advantage. I don't really know what it is. I'm sure people will let me know in the comment section below. And sometimes the motorbikes were a bit closer than that, I'll be completely honest. But it's not, you know, the athlete's fault that that is the case. It happens in a lot of races. You see it in the T100, you see it in Ironman races, you know. So it was a tactical decision of mine to attack and work really hard and positive split the bike so that I could make use of the motorbikes. You could argue that's a little bit cheeky, but that's just racing at the end of the day. And, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game. It was one of those, like, I worked hard, I put myself in a good position, I attacked, I was confident. And so anyway, we're riding up the road, me and this other lad, and I maybe look around at 50, 55k after having been on the front for the rest of the ride. And I look back and I am amazed to see Jack Hutchins with us. I was like, how has he done this? Because when I first looked back before I put in the move, he wasn't there. And then I get on the front, I work really hard, and I'm just amazed. Like, he must have ridden out of his socks to catch us. I don't know how he's done that. I mean, absolute hats off to him, because that is incredible talent to manage to close that gap. Not blowing smoke up my arse at all. I was riding about 335, 340 watts. I did have a motorbike ahead of me, maybe kind of 40 meters up the road, which will have an advantage. Like, I don't know how he caught me. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So fair play to him. And so anyway, he rolls through. I wave them through about 60k in. Like, guys, come on, let's do some work. Jack then pulls a really big stint. Pulls a stint to maybe 80, 85k. Then waves me through, and I do the last bit. And actually, Jack and myself, we come into T2 together. I've maybe got a normalized power of 3 28, 3:30, so it definitely dropped off quite considerably. I can tell you this, in the last 20k, I was suffering. I was bluffing a little bit when Jack waved me through. I asked him, like, how you doing, mate? And he was like, yeah, really good. And he was like, how are you? I was like, yeah, great. And I was bluffing. I was feeling like shit. My legs were absolutely killing me. And if anything, I was a bit nervous because I know Jack has a really good run on him. So I was like, ooh, he's definitely firing on all cylinders today. Like, he's absolutely flying. And I was a little bit nervous. So we come into T2, and he was not the guy I wanted to be with in T2. Like, I would rather be with someone who I know is not an amazing runner. But anyway, we come in together, give him a good fist bump because he deserved that. He rode his absolute socks off. And he has a great transition. And he comes out maybe, I don't know, 5 seconds in front of me out of T2. And I was like, I'll slowly bridge up the gap. I'll run shoulder to shoulder with him. And let's just have a good run battle and see who comes out on top. And that did not happen. I come out of T2, my legs feel pretty heavy. But I'm confident that I can still have a good run time. And I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, it's 4 laps. Let's take the first lap, you know, pretty reserved, pretty steady, and let's build through. And I was running about 3:15s, 3:20s. It's quick, and Jack was dropping me, and I was like, oof, he's either feeling incredible or he will blow up. And in the back of my head, I was like, and Jack will probably agree with me here. He does blow up fairly often in races, so I was like, oh well, you know, he'll probably get to 15k and he'll start slowing down, and if I can feel good and get to 15k, I know I can surge past him and hopefully take the win. But the gap just kept opening and opening and opening. I was like, oof, yeah, he's not slowing down. If anything, I'm the one who's slowing down here. This isn't great. And he just looked strong. Like, every time I ran past him, he looked incredible. And I was like, wow, he is absolutely shifting. Like, in my head, it was like, if he holds this together, he absolutely deserves this. This is absolutely amazing to witness. And so anyway, we come round on the 3rd lap, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to grab something from an aid station. You know, I've been having a little bit of water here and there, and I get some water, and I think it was sparkling water. I don't know why, but at this race, I'm pretty sure they had sparkling water at one of the aid stations. And anyway, I have some at maybe 13k in, and wow, that absolutely destroys my stomach. It was almost like instant. As soon as I swallowed it, it was absolutely horrific. Massive stomach cramps for the next sort of 4k, and my pace went from about 3:25 all the way to 3:45. And so my mentality went from, I reckon I can chase Jack down and you know, contend for the win, to, I don't actually know if I'm going to finish this race. Like, it was that painful. It was absolutely horrific. And I was like, this is so bad. So anyway, I nursed myself to about 17k. I feel sorry for myself, but I'm still in 2nd place. But I know 3rd, 4th, and 5th and 6th, they're chasing really, really hard. I knew that the top 6 get prize money, but I know the drop-off is quite big. And I was like, shit, I'm at 17k, like, snap out of it. You're in 2nd place. Yes, you're hurting, but you've got an opportunity here. You've got 4 more k, whatever it is, and you just need to grow up and get on with it. And you just need to hold off 3rd place. And that's what my target was. The next 4k, it was Jack's up the road, Jack's gone, and he deserves that win. It's now, I really need to hold off 3rd place and 4th place and 5th place and 6th place, because I need to get prize money. I want to pay the bills, and I've worked this hard until now. I can't just like kind of, yeah, just roll over and let them get me. So then managed to turn the screws a little bit more, get back into it, get my stride back, and finish semi-strong. So I ran, I think, a 1:12:30, which, you know, it's not horrific. It's not the pace that I would like to be running. I'd like to be running closer to a 1:10, but it's good enough for 2nd place. And yeah, I did a post after the race saying that, you know, am I perhaps a little bit gutted that I didn't win? Yeah, of course I am. You know, it would have been amazing to win and, you know, have 3 back-to-back wins. That'd be absolutely epic. But actually, I'm equally, if not more, happy for Jack. it was awesome to witness that on the day. And to give people a little bit of context, I used to live down in North Devon for a little bit. You know, for about a year and a bit, Jack and I, we did the same session pretty much every day. We trained together all the time. I would class us as really good friends, and a lot of races the last few years, you know, there have been potentially, you know, missed opportunities for him because of either not feeling good or blowing up in races, and he's had the potential, but he's not actually been able to execute and showcase what his ability is. And at this race, all the stars aligned. He had the fitness, he had the ability, he had potentially a bit of luck on his side, but I wouldn't say that much. He executed it perfectly, and it's so good to see that as his friend. To witness that is absolutely amazing, and it means more to me to see that than for me to get the win. And just the better guy won on the day. You know, there's nothing more I could have done to get the win, and I'm really happy with second place. It's just he was better on the day. He executed. He made the right decisions. He took opportunities. He challenged himself, and yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So really, really happy for Jack, mate. If you're watching this, mega well done. Plenty more of those to come. It was absolutely amazing to see that, and yeah, so that's the race. And it was really good fun. I'm now spending a few days out here in Arcachon, which is really cool. Just a bit of recovery, bit of a holiday, because I think I'd be single quite quickly if I wasn't allowing Melissa to have a bit of a holiday. And then back to work. And we've got maybe 9 weeks now until the Ironman 70.3 World Champs in New Zealand. So that is the next goal. I'm not racing before. I'm just full focus on the Worlds. And it's gonna be epic. You know, I feel like my fitness is in an okay position, but I want to take it to here. I want to execute absolutely amazingly. I want to do everything I possibly can to leave no stone unturned, and I want to go to the Worlds thinking that, you know, I could potentially get a good result. Now, obviously, anything can happen. An amazing performance for me could either be, you know, a top 5 if I have an amazing day, or it could be a top 15. You never know. It depends who shows up on the day, what happens, what decisions I make. All of these make a big difference. But yeah, it would be nice to go into it thinking I could actually execute a really good day. And so I'm looking forward to knuckling down, getting my head down, training hard, and yeah, looking forward to it. So I will be documenting that on this channel, but for now, thanks so much guys for watching this. Bit of a long race debrief, and once again, well done to Jack. Really proud of you, mate. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.